Joining us in studio, the man that could be the first husband of a city council woman in Las Vegas by the name of Amy Tarkanian. Amy was in studio, or was on the phone with us a couple of days ago, talking about she's looking at the idea of running for city council for Lois Tarkanian's seat. She's termed out.
Everybody in the media loves to go.
I love this
way
stuff.
In the future and try to guess what's going on. Look at her focus, and God bless her, and as mine and the rest of our families, is to try to get me across the finish line in this race. We have 4 weeks left, and that's what we're worrying about. A lot of people have asked her to run for political office over the years. The one office she's liked is the city council because it's not a full-time job. She's able to still do some things with the family that she wants to do. It's a seat that my mom's been in for the last 12 years, so there's some positives with it. But we're working on trying to win this election right now, and that's all that I want to focus on.
And I know that she's focusing on it as well.
She has.
I want to ask you, we're down to the short strokes. We're down to the final month. We're down to 27 days. We're down to early voting begins a week from Saturday. Give me your sense. You've talked to a lot of people. You meet a lot of people. You've been to a bunch of town halls, sometimes by yourself. You don't have another candidate to talk to. Talk a little bit about where you see this race in this stretch drive.
Well, first of all, I think my district, I know my district, has been very supportive of the policies that President Trump is implementing. He has a higher positive to negative in my district, and if you just saw recently, his numbers were a little bit upside down statewide. So I think people are appreciating what he's doing as a president, more so in my district than maybe some other places around the country. That's good for me because I've supported his policy positions since he was a candidate. I think there's a lot of enthusiasm from people to get out and vote on both sides. I will tell you the KevinWall thing, I believe, is backfiring on the Democrats, and it's not just a talking point. I'll give you an example. I was in front of the Boulder City Credit Union on Friday handing out literature, saying hello to people going in and out. And I had this guy in a military hat walk right by me. He was very stern, didn't say anything. And then he came out and he walked right by me again and gave me this mean look. And then he turns around and he looks back at me and he says, "I've been a lifelong Democrat and I've never voted for Republican before." He goes, but after what the Democrats did to Kavanaugh, I'm not going to vote for Democrat again. And I just think there's people that have watched what went on there. Many people are very disgusted with how far the left has gone. If you watch the videos of them pounding on the doors, trying to get in, and some of them are so comical. One of them was trying to pry open the Supreme Court doors. Really, with their fingernails.
Storm the Bastille.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. There are Democrats that are trying to push back on this and say, you can't be calling these people a mob or an angry mob. But you look at the pictures, and I wish somebody would do an ad. Maybe a third party could do an ad where you just have on one side of the screen pictures of Antifa and folks out in Berkeley throwing metal bicycle racks through plate glass windows, and then juxtapose that with what we saw in the Capitol, inside the Capitol, and you go, is this not a mob?
Yeah, this is the thing. At least us two here and many other people in this state and across the country, we're not in favor of what President Obama was doing with his presidency. But we expressed that, most people. There were some that went overboard, but most of us expressed that in disagreement terms without violence and being as vile as you've seen. Now, President Trump gets in office. The other side doesn't like him, but they've turned to violence and the most incredibly disgusting language and the way they talk to people. And there is no more civil discourse between them. In fact, Hillary Clinton just said that, which was almost amazing to me. She said, until we take back one of the House or the Senate, we cannot work cordially with the other side. Are you kidding me? This is what government's about. That's why you have elections. Why don't you articulate your positions? Which gets me back to what we should be talking about. Look, let's talk about the issues and where people stand instead of all this vileness and this ugliness. My opponent and her super PACs, Nancy Pelosi's super PACs, have already spent close to $3 million lying about me as they had in previous campaigns. They say that I was involved in telemarketing fraud when all I was an attorney who did corporate documents for people that later on, after I left the practice of law, had committed telemarketing fraud. They said I took $700,000 from a children's charity, when in reality, I was paid an average salary of $44,000 a year to work and operate the Tarkanian Basketball Academy, which incidentally, we earn all of our money that pays for our programs, including my salary, through the business that we run our gym out and our fees for the programs. Now, Susie Lee runs her nonprofits, and she takes millions of dollars from the public. Her homelessness...
Was I right? $1.6 million from the school district?
Yeah. So Susie Lee has whole campaign has been based upon two nonprofits. One was called MASH, which was helping the homeless in the city of Las Vegas. It was a complete failure. The executive director said it didn't do anything for the homelessness, and they took $5 million from the city of Las Vegas in that complete failure. Now Susie Lee's touting her community and schools project, where she's doing stuff in the school district now. And the school district has paid her $1.6 million, has paid her nonprofit to do their services. And that money should be in the classroom, should be used either to pay more teachers or to give them higher salaries, working where the kids are at, not in some innovative, special type of project that Susie Lee and a few wealthy people think may help some people or not. I have no idea if it is or not. I can just tell you, where you can't argue you're short of money, and then you take money from the school district, particularly when you're worth $40 million yourself and you got 17 homes and a private plane, and you're taking money from the Clark County School District instead of that money going into the classroom with the teachers. So those are the personal attacks that they've been saying against me. In reality, there's so much more that she's hiding behind that hasn't been regularly reported. But let's talk about the issues. And this is the thing. I've offered to debate her anywhere possible. She was talking like, hey, I'm going to debate Danny and have town halls with Danny. And then as soon as we called her out on it, she's had one, and she was such an embarrassment in that one, she's gone into hiding. So we actually went to her office last Saturday. We put up had a big military truck, put a stage up with a podium. We wanted to have a debate. We couldn't get her to go anyplace, so we said, come on out to your office, from your office. All you do is walk outside and let's talk about the issues. And she won't do so. And it's easy to understand why. What is Susie Lee's positions compared to my positions? I believe in President Trump's America First policies. I think that when you have the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, the lowest unemployment rate for women in 56 years, the lowest unemployment rate for minorities in all recorded time, that, hey, maybe those policies are working. So what's Susie Lee's position on them? She doesn't want to support those policies. She wants to go back to what President Obama had, where it was stagnant growth and unemployment was hovering around 5-6%. Now, gross domestic product, which is the growth of our economy, it's at 4.2% the last quarter, and they say it may even be higher this quarter. Under President Obama, it was averaged 1.6%. So again, President Trump's policies have doubled the economic growth of our economy. So what is Susie Lee? She's going to argue that? She can't argue. She doesn't like those policies because they're working. We could talk about does she believe that we shouldn't move the United States Embassy to Jerusalem after President Trump promised that, and every other president, including Bill Clinton, promised it, and President Obama. Well, at least President Trump kept his promise and did so. Those are issues she loses on, and she can't talk about them. The one issue she talks about is education. She argues, hey, I've been working to improve our education system in Nevada for decades. Well, the school system's still at the bottom of the entire country. In fact, it's last in the entire country in most of the rankings. And she's taken millions of dollars a year from the school district for her pet projects, and it's still failing. Why don't we put that money back into the classroom with the teachers? And then why don't we give parents school choice where they can pick where they want their kids to be educated with their own tax dollars? It's their money they're paying in taxes. Why shouldn't they be able to use it? See, the point is this. Susie Lee loses on every issue that people care about. So she can't talk about those issues. So her and the super PACs have got to resort to the same line of deceitful.
And by the way, have they crossed that, what I call the D line, the defamation line? You have some experience because you've won in court on defamation on this very topic. You may win again against Jackie Rosen.
I will win again in that.
Okay. Have they crossed the line?
Yeah, when she first started her campaign, she used the same quotes Jackie Rosen had. And we demanded, we sent her a cease and desist letter and demanded that she stop. So you know what she does? They come out, we're not going to back off. Danny's not going to scare us off. So then she changes what she says to make it so she doesn't cross that line. Okay. But yes, she certainly crossed the line. She did not retract it. So she's legally liable for it. But look, winning a lawsuit is not nearly as important as winning this race. And that's why Jackie Rosen is running for the U.S. Senate right now. She defamed me in the last election. She's now running the U.S. Senate. She'll end up paying me a minor civil fine for lying about me. And then if she beats Dean Heller, she'll be sitting in the United States Senate. Sometimes, and it's unfortunately, those type of lying, deceitful acts pay off for people that will stoop that low to do those things.
Both Danny Tarkanian and Susie Lee are up on TV. What does Danny Tarkanian think about the ads on both sides? We'll get to that and a whole lot more coming up. Live and local now. It is live and local now. Joining us, candidate for Congress in Congressional District 3, Danny Tarkanian, joining us in studio, no less. Is it true? This is something a lot of people don't know. But candidates, campaigns, have what are called trackers. And they're people that record what the opposition is doing, the speeches, that kind of thing. The meet and greets, and they're there with a GoPro, and they're taping. And hopefully they'll get something. They'll get a candidate with a YouTube moment. Somebody comes up to them and screams at them. It'll end up on YouTube, and they'll get 1 million hits and all of that. You obviously, is it safe to say that you have trackers out there?
This is the first campaign. I've had a tracker in 2010, 12, and 16. And I had a tracker in the primary in the Senate race in this election. This is the first time I have, and I think it's probably because I've gotten used to it. And I don't think they get a lot out of it when they have somebody tracking me. They have ways that you're supposed to handle that stuff when people come up and they say things to you. You get on the phone and you do stuff. So I have not had one in the general election in this campaign for the first time in many years. And our campaign doesn't have a tracker against Susie Lee, but there is a person that has followed her around that's documenting the campaign and trying to get her on film to answer questions and to actually talk and answer questions from the public too. And
is it true that they threw him out?
Well, the first time he talked with her, she was stumbling on just trying to answer anything, and she did the old phone thing, and then he said to her, "Hey, you're not talking to anybody. Put your phone down." And she didn't know what to do. So she's a valet. She's waiting for a car. It took so long, and she was so frustrated by it. So from that point on, she's had him thrown out at every single place they've been at. Last night we spoke at a candidate's forum. It's just moderator asked us some questions, and he walked in and he put this film up. He didn't say a word to anything, and Susie Lee had security come and throw him out, and it's on film. The security threatened to handcuff him and put him in jail. He didn't say a thing back to him. He said, "Why are you throwing me out?" And they said, "You're going to be arrested if you don't leave right now." Look at it. If she's scared to answer questions with somebody filming her, what do you think she's going to do when she's in Washington D.C. under the glare and focus of the national limelight? She'll freeze up and fold back there too.
Let me just ask you. A lot of folks in the Democrat Party are starting to talk about impeaching not just the president. I mean, that's been ongoing since he was inaugurated. But now they're starting to talk about impeaching Justice Kavanaugh. In your one debate or in what you've seen and from mailers and different things, where is Susie Lee on the issue of impeachment?
Yeah. She won't take a position on anything controversial, but she's very, very supportive of the positions Nancy Pelosi has taken, as she is getting millions of dollars from Nancy Pelosi and her super PACs. Nancy's obviously has said that they want to impeach Kavanaugh as soon as if they take over control of the House. Look, what the amazing thing is, we're missing the point. Look, what has he done to be impeached? I mean, they're saying that he did something 36 years ago. Nobody has any proof of it except the accusers making the accusation. Nobody else has corroborated her stuff. So they're going to impeach somebody based upon that. Imagine the position everybody would be in. All you got to do is have somebody come up and say, "Hey, 40 years ago I saw you." You may not remember because you drink all the time, but 40 years ago you're in a bar and you did X, Y, or Z to me. And they also want to impeach President Trump, and they've been talking about that for the 2 years he's been in office, but they haven't come up with any evidence to impeach him, but they still talk about that. This is the most incredible example in the history of our political system of one party that can't accept the facts. They lost the election, and instead of focusing on the reasons people should vote for their candidates in the next election, to take back control. They instead just want to remove people through these incredible means such as impeachment, which happens, in a very rare occasion.
And by the way, just for the record, we have an open invitation to Susie Lee to join us.
I got a better idea. Why don't you ask to do a radio debate? Just
the two of you.
Yeah. You can moderate it and have her bring in whatever radio host she wants to, so she feels comfortable, and we'll have a debate.
I love that idea.
We'll go by her office if she wants to, even if she wants.
We can bring the debate to you.
She doesn't want to drive out to your studio here. We'll go to her office. No, I'm serious. So Michael Kasner asked me the same thing. I said, yeah, get a debate with her. I'd love to be on, and she won't go on his show. Sam Shad from Nevada Newsmaker asked me to go on a debate with him. I said, great, and then she declined. Next week, there's Vegas Voices, which is a senior group, is having a debate, and she originally said yes, and then she backed out.
Scheduling conflict?
No, she said she didn't like the moderator. So they said the moderator, they won't use that moderator. They use a Democrat moderator only, and she said that still isn't good enough. She just doesn't want to talk about the issues because of what we talked about earlier in the radio show. She can't win on those issues.
I want to ask you, I've only got 15 seconds. If folks want to help your campaign, even at this late date, there's still stuff they can do or money they can contribute.
Tarknv.com is our website, TARKNV.com. We're going to have a big event in Laughlin and a big event in Boulder City over the next 2 weekends. We'll get that out on our website and on our emails, so pay attention. Anybody like to join us, we'd love to have your help.
Danny, best of luck. Safe travels on the campaign trail.
Thank you very much.
There you have it. More